What's going on, guys? Crucible here, and today we're going to be going over the yellow archetype coming out in set 3. All of the cards have finally been revealed, so we are going to break down and see if the Majin Buu leader is able to make it or break it in this particular breakdown. So let's get into it. We got Babidi and Majin Buu. Standard front side, nothing crazy. Back side, Majin Buu's 20k power. And at the end of your turn, play up to one battle card with a cost of 2 or less, and Wicked Soul or Evil Wizard in their special traits from your hand. I think there's some stuff in here that can be very beneficial with this effect, and then there's other stuff where I'm a little questionable in terms of like how it's going to look. So it's going to be something. I think this is going to be one of the decks where like we're heavily going to need to see it in practice rather than on paper, to really determine if he's actually good. But that being said, there could always be more support coming down the line that can make this guy better. We'll just have to see. Alright, starting with Spopovich. 2 cost, 20k power, 5k combo. On play, choose up to one of your opponent's rest mode battle cards with a cost of 2 or less and KO it. I don't see this as a guide that you would necessarily play off of the Majin Buu leader. This is something you would play on turn 2 to remove a cantrip on board, or the 1-cost Weaves, or anything on board, really. He's just a 20k beat stick, really, towards the end game, so I think he's fine turn 2, maybe even turn 3, but on Leader Awakening, I don't really see this guy getting a whole lot of usage, personally. Then we have a 3-cost, 25k power, 5k combo Son Goku, who's a blocker. At the end of your turn, you pay 2 energy to draw a card, and then switch this guy to active mode. I think this is decent. I don't know if I necessarily like... I mean, this guy, I think, is more so meant to be... You swing with him, pay 2 energy to draw, and then restand. You're not using this guy to double defend, because it's only on your turn. But I mean, being able to draw a card, I think, is good. It's just a little costly, having to pay 2 to get 1 card, when there's probably other things you want to play. I mean, maybe at 5, this might not be a bad option to play at 5 energy if you don't really have much else to play at 5. Pay 3 and then swing with him. Pay 2 at the end of your turn. I don't know. I don't know. I think he's okay. I think he's a pretty decent option. Then we got a 2-cost, 20k power, 5k combo Deborah, who's a blocker. When he blocks, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with a cost of 2 or less and switch it to rest mode. This is a decent option to play off of Buu leader, but the problem with this being here is that he's only 2 cost, he's only 20k power. There's a bunch of removal in the game that can actually get rid of this guy. He can be KO'd, he can be minused, he can be bottom decked, he can be sent back to hand. He can be rested and then perma-rested. Like, there's a lot of ways to get around the when blocking effect here, so I don't know exactly how good this guy is going to be in the grand scheme of things, but I think he's pretty decent. If anything, he'll kind of force your opponent to think about what his next move's going to be, and he might change up the way he plays against your board and around this guy, but by himself, though, I don't know if he's necessarily what you want to play off of Buu, personally. Then we got a 3-cost Deborah, who's 20k power, 5k combo. On play, add up to 1 card from your life to your hand. Then play up to 1 battle card with a cost of 2 or less and Wicked Soul in its special traits from your hand. This is good. It's essentially like a... It's essentially a, what is it, a Raccoon. A 3-cost Raccoon effect. He's a Self-Awakener. He can play something out for free. There's going to be a decent number of 2 costs that you can run in this Majin Buu deck. I think this is a really good card, honestly. I think Majin Buu needed a card that's kind of like this to really make the most of building wide like he's kind of doing. So, I think this is fine. It's a good card. Now, this is a good card I think you should play off of the Majin Buu leader. Babidi, 2 costs, 5k power, 5k combo. He's got Barrier. And auto once per turn, when an opponent's battle card with a cost of 3 attacks, draw 1 card. Now, there's only procs 1 turn, but the fact that he's a barrier and he cannot be interacted with in the game at all outside of combat, I think is going to be really beneficial for Buu. So playing this guy playing this guy off of the Buu, I think is going to be a must. He's protected on board as long as you don't swing with him or put him in rest mode. And getting a draw off of a 3-cost battle card, I think, is pretty solid. So then we have another 2-cost Babidi, who's 5k power, 10k combo, who is basically just a searcher. He's searching for a Majin Buu card or a Wicked Soul card, and then you bottom deck the rest. Paying this for 2 is another decent card to play off of the Majin Buu leader. That said, this guy can be touched, he can be rested, so it might be beneficial to maybe swing and combo with this guy after you get the effect to proc. Really, it's going to we're really going to have to see how this plays out. But yeah, 2 very solid 2-cost cards. Then we have the super combo, which is just Bibbidi. Nothing crazy. Then we got 2-cost Hui Pui, 15k power, 10k combo. Blocker, where on play, choose up to 1 field card with a cost of 2 or less in your opponent's battle area and place it in its owner's drop. Now, initially, when we first saw this card, I didn't think it was all that great, because the only interactions that he has are the Tournament of Power, Arena, which doesn't really get a lot of play anymore. You get some people that play it, but not a whole lot. Then you got the Orange High School, which we're questionable on. It could be good, could be decent. We just don't really know. So, in the grand scheme of things, initially we thought that this effect was actually kind of bad, because how often are you going to proc this? But spoiler alert: both blue, yellow, and black all got field cards, and they're all 1 cost, 1 or 2 costs. So Hui Pui here actually has a lot more options to actually get his effect to go off. So I would say that this guy's actually worth running now. You might not necessarily you're not necessarily going to be swinging with him off your Majin Buu leader, but he's 10k combo and he has a blocker. So at least there's that. You're mainly using it to remove a field. I think Hui Pui's actually pretty decent now. He's pretty good. Then we got a 1-cost Bulma, 5k, 5 combo. Activate main, switch this card to rest mode. Add up to 1 yellow extra with a cost of 2 or less from your drop to your hand. Pretty decent all around. I mean, you're not really getting much use out of her other than to get the extra card back, so having to rest her I don't think is the worst thing. Then we got a Vanilla Vegeta, 2 cost, 20k power, 10k combo. He is a Wicked Soul, so you can play this guy off of the Majin Buu leader, but because you'd be using him for more offensive as opposed to defensive, you probably would want to play this off of the 3-cost Deborah more so than the Babidi. I think you want to keep more of the blockers to play defensive at the end of the turn, and then you want to play these offensive pieces when able. And as we're kind of going through these cards, you can kind of see how you kind of want to play some of these cards too. It's actually the pieces are all kind of coming together a little bit. Then we got the SR Vegeta, 4 cost, 25k power, 5k combo. Activate main once per turn. Choose up to 1 of your opponent's rest mode battle cards with a cost of 3 or less and KO it. Then switch this card to active mode. Having some hard removal as well as being a 25k dual attacker is pretty good, honestly, for yellow. Yellow, I think, lacks a lot of offensive utility. Most yellow cards are sitting at around 20,000. And so for certain matchups, you are going to have to be comboing in and swinging higher than able. And so having a dual attacker who's able to hit for 25,000 while also KOing a card, I think is pretty cool. So this Vegeta is really awesome. I like this Vegeta. Then we have a 3-cost Vegeta, 25k power, 5k combo. At the end of your turn, you pay 1 energy, and then your leader gets 5,000 power until the end of your opponent's next turn. This card could actually be really good in the Vegeta leader. Considering that he gets 2 energy back, and you're not always going to be spending all of your energy right out the bat anyway. So I think it will really kind of depend on when you proc this. I think what you could do, because this ends on the end of your turn, and the leader is also on the end of your turn, I think your leader can reset 2 cards back to active, and then you can proc 1 energy from those 2 one of those energies that you procced up, activate one of those to then make him a 25k defensive leader. I think this guy's really good. He'll actually be a pretty good solid option for the Vegeta deck and kind of round him out a little bit, which I think is nice. Then we have a 3-cost 20k power 5k combo crit Pure Evil Majin Buu, where when attacking, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and switch it to rest mode. This is pretty good. 20k crit for 3 energy. That's basically resting something on play. I think it's not a bad card at all, honestly. I think this is pretty good. Then we got a vanilla Majin Buu. He's looking a little sinister. 4-cost, 30k power, 10k combo. Again, vanillas are always really good. I think yellow actually kind of hasn't really gotten any like heavy like vanillas, I think. Even like set 2, I don't think there were that many. So I think giving some vanilla options to Majin Buu is actually not the worst thing. Then we have the SR Majin Buu. 3-cost, 25k power, 0 combo. Who he also has barrier. And then when KO'd, discard 1 card from your hand, play this card from your drop in rest mode. There is no downside to this card. He cannot be interacted with. He can only die by combat. And in terms of his importance, it really is just dependent on how much you want to pay out of hand to keep this guy on board. It's not like the Zamasu fused in blue from this current set, where he can only come back 1 time per turn. So this Buu is awesome. I think this card's going to be a must run. He's going to be a must run. I think in Majin Buu, obviously. But there is no reason why you don't run this in other yellow stuff either. I think he's just going to be a solid card. And I love this, by the way. This is awesome. So, Meta Cooler Core, Frieza Clan, 4-cost, 30k power, 5k combo. You switch this guy to rest mode, and then play 2 Meta Coolers with costs of 3 or less from your drop in rest mode. The Meta Cooler archetype is still getting support, and I think that's awesome. And while I don't think the Meta Cooler deck in and of itself is quite there yet, having this option to keep your board flooded, I think is actually going to be very helpful. And I'm thinking Cooler might actually stand a little bit of a chance now that he's like the Cooler leader. I think will actually have some usability now. He's got options. He's got all of the Meta Coolers that you can have as many of as you want. You got the blocker Metal Cooler from this set. And then you also have this guy who's able to just flood your board when needed. So you could run this at a 4 of 2. So I think this is great. I really do. I really think this is awesome. Then we got a 2-cost Yakon, 15k power, 10k combo, who's a blocker who self-awakens. I mean, I think this is fine. Again, it's kind of like the Spopovich. I don't think you're really playing this guy after. You're not really playing this guy off of the Buu leader effect. You're playing this early on to self-awaken. And that's really what you're using this guy for. But he's a self-awakener for Majin Buu. He's a search option, so I think that's fine. Then we got a Yamu, he's just a cantrip. Then we have this Raccoon, 2-cost, 20k power, 5k combo. On play, draw a card, then discard a card. Then activate main, switch this card to rest mode. If your leader is a Ginyu Force and its special traits, switch up to 1 of your energy to active mode. I think this is good. I think more Ginyu Force support. This is more so what I think the Ginyu Force kind of needed over the 2-cost Ginyu that we got this current set. Being able to just get 1 energy back by switching him to rest mode whenever, I think is great. So basically play this guy, draw a card, remove a card, then if you can either swing with this guy or use his main to basically reactivate an energy. And I think that's good too, because you need 3 energy off of the Ginyu leader to be able to activate the Ginyu leader's effect. So you could basically, if you're at 2 energy and you need that 3rd energy, you could basically play. I'm sorry, I'm like stumbling on my words. You could switch this guy to active if he's on your board, go up to 3 energy, and then he goes back into active anyway. I think this is a solid card for Ginyu, honestly. All right, then on to the extras. We got Turn into Candy, 1 cost. On your turn, KO 1 of your battle cards, and then if your leader is a Majin Buu card, draw 2. Very thematic for what Majin Buu's about. And then on either your turn or your opponent's turn, you can choose your leader or up to one of your opponent's battle cards, or one of your battle cards, and it gains 15,000 power for the battle. This isn't a bad card. I like this. Then we have Energy Absorption. 1 cost. Choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, switch it to rest mode, and then it cannot switch to active during your opponent's next turn. Then, if that card has a cost of 4 or more, draw 1 card. I think there's some usability here. There's some synergy. But it's not like the greatest of cards. You kind of want to use this. You really want to use this off to get the draw as well. But, I mean, the fact that you're choosing a card, you're resting it, and then perma-resting it, I think is a really good combination. So, it's not a bad card. I think it's pretty good. And then we got Pada Papa. 2 costs. Switch up to one of your Bit Bobbity battle cards to rest mode, and then choose up to 2 of your battle cards with a cost of 4 or less and Wicked Soul and their special traits. Switch them to active. I think this is good. Now that we know what the Bobbities kind of do, we have the Searcher Bobbity, which honestly, like, would probably be the option that you would want to. Probably the option that you would want to actually rest this with. But you also have the Barrier one as well. So I think this is a good card. Then we have the field card for yellow, which is Bobbity Spaceship. 2 cost. Auto, on your turn, once per turn, when your Bobbity or battle card with Wicked Soul in its traits is played, choose up to one of your opponent's rest mode battle cards with a cost of 4 or less, and it can't switch to active mode during your opponent's next turn. I think this is good. Just having a straight up permanent locking option with the field card. It's an auto, so it just goes off automatically with no cost whatsoever. This is really good. I think this field card's awesome. And if you're playing Bobbities and your Wicked Soul stuff, this is really easy to get off every turn. So then we got Final Explosion, 3 cost. Choose all your opponent's battle cards with a cost of 3 or less, switch them to rest mode. Then choose up to 2 of your opponent's rest mode battle cards with costs of 4 or less and KO them. Yellow needed hard removal. That is something that Yellow has always struggled with. And so now having the option to just not permanently rest, but to rest just about most things on your opponent's board, and then KOing 2 4 costs or less is really strong. This is really strong. And it works out too because, yeah, 3 costs or less, your opponent might leave some lower cost stuff just untapped just to protect it on board. Whereas I think in most cases with the 4 costs, I think they're not going to necessarily want to keep that in active going out of their turn. So there's some usability here. I think this is a strong card. I like it. Then we got Sealed Majin for 1. Choose your leader or up to, for battle, choose your leader up to 1 battle card. It gets 10,000 power for the battle. Then that card gets 5,000 power for the battle for each card with Wicked Soul in your battle area. It's basically Bonds of the Ginyu Force, but for Wicked Soul cards. Really good. It's a really good card. Bonds gets a lot of usage, so this should get a lot of usage as well. And then finally, we got a reprint of the Chilai Super Combo. This is really, this looks awesome. But that's going to do it for yellow, guys. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today and learning about the yellow archetype. I think Majin Buu is in a much better spot than I think we were initially giving him credit for. That said, I don't think everything works as it should. I think he probably is going to need a couple extra options here and there. But yeah, like now that we kind of see like a clear line in terms of like how we're supposed to play some of this stuff, your 2 cost blockers are playing off of leader. Your non-blocker 2 costs are going to be played off of on offense. So it's a very interesting way to play the deck, and I kind of like it. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Like and subscribe for more Fusion World content, and I'll see you guys all in the next video. Peace.